Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Friday, sunny, partly cloudy. It's a day off for me, but been a little busy watching what's going on with Ukraine and Russia, and then I've seen a lot of stuff coming out of there. I'm following a lot of people who are there or in contact with those who are there. A lot of stuff coming out of there. You don't know exactly what's real and what's not real. For example, some of these fighter jet shoot downs, you don't know, some people have claimed that these are games, and some of them claim that they are the real deal. So anyway, I've heard a lot of people ask about, like what's really going on. I've got contacted by a good friend of mine from school last night, and she was pretty confused about what's going on. I think a lot of people are confused about what's going on because you're getting, what's really reported in the United States is a bit more hawkish, I would say. I honestly didn't think that the Russians would invade. I thought that maybe they might do an incursion into the region that the separatists are holding, and that they might shore up those areas to lob off a bit. But now it seems that they've really, of course, tried to take over the entire country. Let me just go over a few things that I've been information I've been given to is that apparently of course Ukrainians, they're fighting on home soil, so they have a lot more to lose. But it seems that there are Russian elements that are a bit confused about what their mission are. I think, or their mission is. There was reports of a whole platoon of an armored reconnaissance element that was captured by Ukrainian forces, and even their leader was like really unsure what was going on. He thought he was just on a more like a peacekeeping thing or whatever. It wasn't really that sure. But besides all that, the Russian sent Helo elements in to capture the, and they were going to do an airborne jump onto an airport north of Kiev, and that got thwarted by and for a minute the primary forces, they had captured the airport, and then the Ukrainian National Guard, Spetsnaz, or Special Works Unit, Special Forces Unit, were able to retake at least a half of the airport back. So that thwarted the concept of an airborne drop, I guess, from the Russian forces into that area. They tend to jump a lot higher than what we were jumping in the United States on combat jumps, I guess, too. So, and then a lot of their aircraft have been shot down. A lot of helos, couple helos, lots of tanks have been knocked out thanks to javelins and other anti-tank systems that were sent into the country some months ago, and they're not having an operation, I guess, as they thought they would. I remember in the Cold War we were taught to fear the Russians and all these plans they were having, how big their army was, and what we're really seeing is a conscript army. We're talking about guys who are in for a year. Okay, they're not in for 5 years. We're talking about, their NCOs are professional. Their officers, well, they're conscripted also quite often. Most of them are. Even their NCOs are also. But what you're seeing is it's not a highly trained element of the military. Okay, of their military. So they may have 180,000 troops they crossed the line with yesterday. But it's not looking very pretty for them. And there was even a video I posted on Facebook of a car driving down a street and a Russian tank making a beeline for it and running it over. And then the second video were men trying to get the grandmother out of the vehicle. She was crushed in the vehicle. They were trying to rip the vehicle apart to get her out of it. So yeah, it's like someone said earlier, on a PR element, the Russians are already losing, but when it comes to the battle, in the long run, they may do better. But anyway, some people have also asked, why is there a war in the first place? Well, you got to remember that Ukraine is a very important place in the world. It's very big. It's actually larger than a lot of the countries in Europe, even larger than France, and it's considered the breadbasket of Europe and the third largest producer of corn and wheat in the world, and some other products also. You have also fishing, and then of course another thing that's happening, you have oil pipelines and gas pipelines which are traveling across Ukraine, so it's quite strategic. And of course Russia likes it, wants it, because it's a buffer between them and NATO, and there's this fear that Ukraine may go into NATO, which now what the Russians have done is that if Ukraine gets out of this, maintaining its independence, it's going to try to join NATO, I'm sure. So Putin has a lot to lose, because Putin knows that when his presidency is up, he's finished. He is really finished. This guy has stolen or has gotten billions of dollars. He's one of the richest men in the world. I think I saw something where he has a value of $58 billion. That's a lot of money, okay? But he knows that when his day is up, that when he's no longer president or controlling Russia. So there's a lot going on there, even stuff that I don't even know. I don't know at all, to be honest with you. I'm just sort of, piecing together everything that I've been reading and been looking into. But things are not going to be pretty there for a while. I don't think this is going to end overnight. The last time the Russians had an incursion into the eastern provinces, they got a really bad nosebleed from the Ukrainian elements that are there. And we're talking about fighting with very similar weapons, okay? And maybe even very similar tactics, although the Ukrainians have developed their own tactics and have had a lot of help from the West in tactics. The Russians are fighting with their traditional tactics, not pinpoint strikes, but destroying whole grid squares. It's pretty much how they do it. So, it is sort of strange seeing people on their balcony filming dogfights or combat helicopters flying over, or tanks driving by. You saw the Russians were driving right down the main road, and people were driving by filming it. But it's like these tanks are ass to ass. They have no tactical. They just driving, really close to one another, which opens them up to problems. So. Yeah, I am a little bit more surprised that the Ukrainians didn't block these roads beforehand. I think they probably should have, but I think a lot of Ukrainians didn't expect an invasion either. What was really interesting is how Washington was talking about how they've been talking about, they've known this for months and months and months, but they've done nothing about it, okay? Sadly, the U.S. government is the weakest it's been in a very long time. Very, very long time. Biden it's not so much Biden, it's his handlers. They either want this to happen, or of course they're very hawkish. These people who are basically running this whole show. They want war because war means tax money, buying more and more weapons, and ammunition, and tanks, and aircraft. And they're the ones making the money from it. They're profiting from it, so they need a full war. So since Afghanistan and Iraq's pretty much calmed down, and you saw how much $80 billion worth of equipment the United States had abandoned there, that needs to be replenished. And second of all, that needs to be lost so it can be replenished again. So they want to get us into more wars, and so they can keep earning that money. So anyway. So that's the situation from my point of view, I guess. I do live in Switzerland. I don't live in Ukraine, but I have friends of mine who, like I said, who are over there. I have contacts over there. I have friends of mine who are also Russian, and the Russians aren't very happy about what's going on. And I have friends of mine who are here, who are Russian, who are hiding out because they don't want people to know that they're Russian, because it's pretty ugly, But I also have friends of mine in bordering countries like Hungary and Romania, and some of them are thinking about, coming back this way temporarily until things cool down, because it's very easy for this to cross borders. It's very easy for this to grow bigger, So of course we are all hoping that it doesn't. Like I said, Vladimir Putin, he needs that border. He needs that buffer zone, because he is in fear for himself, not for his country. This guy is all about himself. He's a narcissist, and he's a quiet narcissist, though. He doesn't go out and make big speeches about himself. And he's not an idiot. This guy's a very smart guy. He's a former KGB agent. I don't think that he's really someone who wants to see communism return back to Russia, but he likes the idea of one person controlling it all, So, and that's what he's doing right now. Even the Russians don't always put up with this kind of stuff. Remember the famous when Yeltsin took power, was able to become the president, and there was a coup prior to his taking that over, because someone, I can't remember his name, the one who was before him, but anyway, so that's all I gotta say about that. I'll keep you guys informed of what I see. I think a lot of people have a lot more information than I do, but this is just what I've seen so far. And I hope that if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll look into it from my end. Like I said, I have some contacts who have information, and they're spitting it out as quickly as they can, because and there are a lot of underground news outlets coming out of the Ukraine, because these people don't want their faces splashed on YouTube or anything else, because if Russia were to take over, they're going to go after them. Okay, the Russians bring in their secret services, the KGB and stuff, and they go in and they alleviate. Right now the president of Ukraine, although he imprisoned the guy that he beat for whatever reason that is, and I believe that the prior, if I'm right or not, I may be wrong by saying this, but I believe the prior administration there they were more like an arm. They were more supporters of the East, and he was more of a supporter of the West. But of course, you have the Bidens involved in all this too, and I have a feeling that maybe Biden would be happy to see a lot of this stuff go away, because it implements him and his son in whatever investigations are really coming out of this, if there's anything at all. But anyway, so there's a lot more going on. But anyway, I'll keep you guys informed as much as I can, either on Facebook or here. And just if you have any comments or any questions, just throw them at me, either Facebook or here, and I'll do my best to answer them or find answers for them. And if I don't have the answer, I'll tell you. And if I get corrected, like I said, I didn't think this was going to happen. I thought that this was going to be a very limited thing, but to see what they're doing, actually the way they're doing is sort of smart. If they sort of force the hand of the Ukrainians to sort of spread themselves out a bit, but at the same time, and then they can concentrate on securing up these other two regions. And then if they do pull out, then these two regions are more secured. But there's also this fear that the Russians want more. They have Crimea. They want more of a Black Sea access. And so that's another thing also, because the Black Sea is very important to the Russians. The Russians have been, they're bullies. They're bullies on the seas. They're bullies everywhere they go. They fly their jets where they want to. They really push the situation. I think, although there's always that fear of war, and I don't want to see war, I think that every once in a while NATO needs to shoot down a Russian jet that's pushing too close up to it, because the Russians have no fear of doing that themselves, because they're not afraid of losing anybody, and they're not afraid of the consequences. They don't believe the West, because they know the West doesn't want war, and so they're willing to push the situation even more. But anyway, we'll see. Listen, I hope you all have a pleasant Friday and a happy weekend. And like I said, I'll keep you updated. But you guys take care of yourselves. Bye.